Stop scrolling for a moment, because what you are about to hear is not just ancient history, it is one of the oldest teachings on the journey of the soul ever recorded. These words were written thousands of years ago in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, yet when you truly study them, you begin to realize they are not speaking only about death. They are speaking about purification, consciousness, spiritual integrity, and what it means to become worthy of walking in divine alignment. The ancients understood something profound. Before the soul can enter higher realms, it must first know itself. As I was studying these sacred pages, what immediately stood out to me was the repetition of divine declarations made by the scribe Ani before Osiris. This is not random text. This is a ritual of self-declaration, almost like a spiritual testimony before the divine court. Ani speaks of building a dwelling place in Tatu, of sowing fields in all his forms, and of standing in sacred order. What this reveals is that the soul is not passive in its journey. The soul must actively prepare its inner temple. In many ways, this mirrors the inner alchemy we move through in our own lives. Before transformation can occur externally, something within us must be cultivated, purified, and made ready. One of the most striking passages is where Ani declares, "I eat not that which I loathe, that which I abominate, and I feed not upon filth." When you read this on a deeper level, this is not only about physical food. This is about energetic consumption. What are you feeding your spirit? What thoughts, environments, people, and energies are you allowing into your field? The Egyptians understood purity as something far beyond the physical body. They understood that consciousness itself can be nourished or contaminated. This is why this text still feels so alive today. It asks the same question we must ask ourselves. What are you consuming that is shaping your reality? There is also a beautiful reference to white grain, red barley, and the waters of the Nile. This is deeply symbolic. Grain represents sustenance, life force, and abundance. The Nile, as we know, was the source of life in Egypt. Spiritually, this speaks to returning to the original source that nourishes the soul. It is a reminder that true sustenance does not come from external validation, chaos, or fear. It comes from connection to source, truth, and inner stillness. Another powerful layer in these passages is the invocation of divine beings. Osiris, Anu, the disk, the shining ones, and the followers of the gods. Ani repeatedly aligns himself with divine order by declaring, "I am with Osiris." This is such a profound spiritual statement. It is an affirmation of union with divine consciousness. The journey here is one of becoming aligned with higher principles, truth, balance, justice, and sacred order. In Egyptian wisdom, Osiris is deeply connected with resurrection and renewal. So when Ani says he rises upon his two arms and comes forth as one equipped for the journey, this is the language of spiritual rebirth. And this is where I feel this teaching becomes so relevant for us today. We all go through initiations. We all go through seasons where something in us must die, so that something more aligned can rise. Old identities, old wounds, old ways of seeing ourselves, they must be released. The ancients encoded this process as the journey of the soul through the afterlife, but psychologically and spiritually, it is also the journey of awakening in this lifetime. The repeated references to being judged by the forefather of light and coming forth shining among the mighty ones speaks to a universal truth. Your inner state determines the reality you enter. The Egyptians were masters of symbolic language. To shine was not merely to glow outwardly. It meant to have refined one's inner essence to such a degree that the soul radiated truth. This is why these teachings feel so mystical and yet so practical. They remind us that spiritual work is not performance, it is refinement. What I personally find so powerful is the way Ani speaks with certainty. There is no hesitation in his declarations. He knows who he is in relation to the divine. And I think that is one of the greatest lessons hidden in these pages. So many people today are disconnected from their inner authority. They seek constant confirmation outside themselves. But these teachings show us that true spiritual power comes from knowing your soul, knowing your truth, and standing firmly in your own sacred alignment. This ancient text is, in many ways, a map of consciousness. It is showing us that ascension is not something given, it is something embodied. You rise by the integrity of your spirit, by what you consume, by what you align with, and by the truth you are willing to live. So I want to ask you something. What part of you is being called to rise right now? What are you being asked to release so that the version of you who is ready for the next journey can emerge? If this message found you at the exact moment you needed it, let that be your sign that your soul is already moving through a threshold. Follow for more teachings on ancient wisdom, symbolism, and soul transformation. And if you are moving through a spiritual awakening, emotional heaviness, or a major life transition, I offer one-to-one soul guidance and intuitive sessions to help you navigate